So hi friends. I think now we should just even introduce the episode with you.
Yeah.
You already become a
welcome to the sound girl pod.
So in today's episode,
is all about vulnerability and motherhood and raising children.
Yeah.
I have my guest here, Joel. Tell us. Come on.
I like that.
Karibu, Joel.
All right, so as Ola said, really, today is a vulnerability episode. So if you guys follow Soila over our Hada stories, she got 2 under 2s, and her children have a story.
Yes.
So she'll explain the story. I also have 2 under 2s, and I have a story.
Yes.
Not far off. My child is still young, 2 months old now, and I have 1 year old, but I have a story. So I thought, who else would I say this conversation about apart from Soila?
Thank you for having me, man.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
This is now home.
Yeah.
Next time we'll go up on a chai and mandazi.
No problem. Next time we'll do. So today is just our stories. Aki, honestly, hakuna kitu ingine. It's just our stories. So for me, our firstborn was planned, or rather, not really planned, but we
wanted to.
Exactly. Yes. We you know, it was an agreement. Yeah. Then our secondborn came by. I always say that child is God's plan. Yeah. Like, it's not my plan. It's not anyone's plan. Yeah. And for me, the 2 experiences were a bit different. So the first one, I was experiencing the kicks. I was looking forward to the day they will, I used to like the fact that my child, to date, knows the way the father opens the door.
What?
Yes. So if he opened the door, she would immediately kick.
Oh no!
Yeah, I was looking forward to those days. I mean, like, there's such
Are
a
they
bond.
Good friends?
Very good friends. Oh my God, I even feel jealous sometimes because when he comes home, she runs, and when I come home, it's like, okay, who's this now? Okay, mommy, you're home. Okay, good. Now let's go to the next. Like, I'm just the normal. You have to love me whether I like it or not. And so I wanted to experience. Like, I was going to look at the app. What are they saying today? I'm experiencing. If I'm experiencing heartburns, what should I take? I was more keen about the journey of bringing up the child. My husband was involved also a lot because we didn't also know to experience. I got a lot of heartburn. I remember being many times I would puke. He'd wipe my puke for me. He'd do everything.
You walked the journey together.
We walked the journey together. And so for me, when delivery, I was so sure the process would be smooth for me. I had prayed about it. We had talked about it. But then later on, I realized that after I gave birth, after all that, I realized that even if we had planned, or rather we are anticipating, I was not ready to become a mother. The responsibility of a mother. I thought motherhood means delivering the baby, but not taking care. Hey, but that statement, that's what it was so fake. I'm like,
so fake. What do you mean?
What do you mean by
do you know what labor is?
Exactly. Like, for the first one, I labored for 18 hours. I went to hospital at 8 p.m. I delivered at 5 p.m. the next day. So,
guy, you were in hospital for 2 days. Yeah. So you did 6 days.
So I did 4. One night, one Thursday, Friday. I left on Sunday. So Thursday, Friday.
Why did you go to the hospital earlier?
Because my water broke.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so my water broke in the night. Yeah. And I was doing my own things, and then we went to hospital. They said, okay, when your water breaks, there's no going back home. Yeah, there's no going back home. Okay. That's why they either check your water or they check your dilation. So they tell you your water is broken, you can't go. You're dilated 2 centimeters, you have to go home. Tembea, wanakwambia tembea, go around. Fanya. Yeah.
It's true.
So I didn't think of it. So what affected me was now bringing up my child after delivery. So I struggled a lot. So and then now in the meantime of me learning this small human being, oh my God.
Nah, excuse me, ma'am. You're not alone.
Hey. Oh my God. That was that day was scary for me. So I even didn't know how to tell my husband. So he had traveled to Tanzania. He was coming home very late. I think he was coming around 1 a.m. And I couldn't sleep. I called my mom. She's not picking. I'm trying to call someone to speak. Like, I have so much emotion in me, but there's no one who's speaking. So I just.
How old is your baby firstborn at this time? Now you interview me. So you may turn around and they're asking questions. Yeah.
So my baby was. So I'm trying to conceive when my baby was 3 months, but we discovered when I was 5.
Okay.
Ooh. 14 weeks later. So I just felt my taste was different. And I could tell because my firstborn was the same. That's how I knew I was pregnant the first time.
Yeah.
I was like, this is just a baby. I was like, but I kept it off. I brushed it off. I didn't even pay attention. But I kept persisting. So I said, okay, fine, let me just accept this thing. Whether I discover him or whatever, if the baby's there, it's the baby's there.
And
so
the husband is not home.
He's not home. So I went and picked that the test kit. First I took the 50 bob one, the one that is just that one.
Kuna ingine more than 50 bob.
There's a 100 bob one, the one that is harder.
Oh yeah.
You know
the one that you see in movies.
Yeah, that one. That's the 100 bob one.
Is it harder or because of the nature?
It's harder and then it gives accurate. It's more accurate. So the first one said, there were no, and that time my husband is in Tanzania, remember? So we were like, we're not pregnant. But then that test persisted. So I said, let me buy this expensive one. Let me tell you, Soila, I was in the toilet. I was washing my hands. I turned. It already turned two different. There was no way I was running away. I was 14 weeks. What do you expect of us to be? Yeah, 14 weeks, imagine. So I sat there. I said, okay, now this is shocking. So I have to wait for my husband to come. That is the day he was coming.
You did not call him?
I can't. How do you tell your husband you're pregnant on phone?
Who else will you tell him? How do I tell him on phone? You had to call. Sir, sit down while you call. I'd call.
So anyway, I waited and he came around one something. So I sat on the bed. So he found me sitting on the bed. He's like, okay, this one. Okay. He said, how are you? I'm fine. I'm going to go to the toilet. I'd place it on top of the toilet.
You're pranking me.
He just said, okay, well, try the baby.
Oh, really?
He said that. So, but then later on I realized he was telling me that to help me because he realized I was overwhelmed. Like the news was overwhelming me.
Yeah.
And so that happened. So we talked about that pregnancy, I think when we were 7 months. But like talking about it, we never spoke about it. Many times I wanted to run myself in my car and just die. I asked God, why are you giving me a child? I don't want it, so to say.
Yeah.
And people out here are struggling without children.
Yeah,
I really had a hard time in that pregnancy. I mean, there are many times I asked God, you're so unfair. My best belief.
Was it a tough pregnancy? Would you say it was a tough pregnancy?
It was the easiest pregnancy.
Okay.
I mean, I had a
just the shock time. Aspect of it is the one that...
Yeah, that's what... Okay. Now, mentally, I was really unstable. I remember there's a time I went to an event and they were talking about how they have made use of their 20s. And then I was like, okay, I'm in my 20s, I'm with 2 children, and I'm just here. My life cannot move because I can do nothing. I was planning to do school that year. I was planning to improve myself, things like doing other courses, other skills, etc. Yeah. But I didn't do any of that. And so my experience...
Hey, sorry to ask questions because now it's my podcast.
Yeah, it's fine.
Had you recovered from postpartum with your first one?
So now when I'm in introspect, I myself as a person, I take things. How do I say this? I take things very lightly. Yeah. I used to take things very lightly. There was nothing new under the sun. You want to kill yourself? Die, my friend. Strangle. You are not just.
Oh my God!
You want to kill? Just die. There's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah.
And so I thought I had dealt with my postpartum with my firstborn. But it came not to recur afterwards. So it became worse. I became angry. There was nothing that was making any sense. But if you see me outside, I was not struggling. I mean, but there are many times. I remember there's a time I sat on my car. I was driving and I asked God, a car just pass me and hit me? I die. My child is okay.
Yeah.
She has amazing grandparents. They have a very good relationship with their father. So either way, she's not struggling without me.
Yeah.
There's a time I looked at the window. I wanted to open the window and just jump out.
What made you feel inadequate, man?
I don't know.
Because it was such a...
I felt like something that I can control, I didn't control. So I feel like I lost control over it. And I was like, God, really?
Okay.
I was like, honestly speaking, God, you can't use your head. Like, you say you love us. If you love me, that means you have to give me what I want. So I had planned to do school. We had planned our entire year.
Yeah.
And then here I am. I haven't even, I really didn't get milk with my firstborn. So I was struggling with even connecting with her to some extent. Yeah. And then I'm seeing my husband now has changed. He's now like in this small thing who has made me get cracked nipples, giving me emotion. Also, I'm like, even this husband doesn't even love me because he's inclined towards this small.
Baby.
Yeah, because he used to wash the baby, change the diaper. To date, until recently.
It's very interesting how you ask for help, but again, you complain about it.
Now say,
still want to control how he's going to care for the child.
Exactly. So my husband really helped me. I mean, he really did a good job.
Yeah.
But then now the second one. So after 6 months, I went to the hospital and I was diagnosed with gestational diabetes. And the doctor told me, if you don't take care of this, you can lose your child.
Ooh.
Or they can become big and you have to do cesarean and things like that. So I was like, that was my wake-up call. I was like, there's no way this child is going to experience rejection again.
Yeah.
Because if I can't even heal from something that I need to take care of, then that means I'll not have a child.
Yeah.
And so that's when I was like, okay, God, now, yes, I know I've complained, but it's my time. Give me peace of mind to bring up this child and let me just accept it. So I took in the news well. Okay, it disturbed me at some point. I took the news well. I did whatever they told me, cut diet, do gym, etc., and I did all that. Then I decided that I am not going to show them differently of how I love them. Because honestly speaking, I think I would have loved my first one more than I would love my second one. And I discovered not the circumstances of birth or the circumstances of, okay, even in my first pregnancy, because it was progressive, the labor was progressive, the tear was cut. Like they created the pathway for the child. So it was organized.
Yes.
Even when they are suing it.
It was just, it's the same path.
Yeah, it's the same path. Yeah. With my second one, I had a tear because I pushed the baby prematurely. So that could make me feel, okay, now she came unplanned. Now here I am. She's
giving me a lot of new wounds over here.
So that makes it feel like, okay, so I can love the first one because she didn't have any problems. So I became more intentional with my children. Yeah. So that's my story of the two.
Oh wow! What are the joys that you had
when I was
with the second pregnancy?
I didn't have any problems. Honestly speaking, people knew I was pregnant. Yeah. Some of them knew when it was announced in church.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
And how was your husband during that process?
So
because it was more about you. You saw how you were very inadequate and how God was really sort of unfair to you.
Yeah.
Where was he? What is the conversation was happening?
Okay. Because we've not really spoken about it
as much.
But I think he was, the way we would interact and all that, I could tell it was really hard on him. Okay. That's because men think of how to sustain their family. So he's like, okay, I'm not even finished sustaining this one.
So there's
this other one who's coming. So there are 2 children. I have to take them to good schools. I have to take them to this. They have to be well. I have a wife to still think about. I have to take care of her. I think it really hit him hard. Maybe that's why we didn't even speak about the pregnancy.
Both of you are processing your own way. Yes.
Okay, we tried to deal with it one day and it was emotional, so we left it at that. Okay, maybe it's a time we need to recover, but whatever. But I could tell it was hard on him. Even for us, in our family, me and my husband, I give a second name, it is the first name. So I was even asking him, what's the name you want to give? He's like, hey, don't ask me about that name. Just give me time. We got the name when we got her name 9 months into pregnancy.
Oh wow!
Yeah, like and with my firstborn, the first month we really knew what she was being cut.
Come on.
So you can imagine how that time was so lonely for me. I would feel so lonely. He's not understanding me. I'm not understanding him. And then last year also for him was very fruitful. So he would travel a lot. He was not home around most of the time and things like that. So now I couldn't understand how to express what I was feeling, and I'm sure he couldn't do this. Yeah. And so that was my experience of the two. And I think at the end of the day, what I've learned in all this is that God orchestrates this. It's never about, there are people who even have all the family planning posts, but they even put implant plus whatever, and
the baby still comes out.
There are people who don't get children even after 20 years of marriage. So it's only about God's
It's a different journey for different women. Yeah. I think when you mentioned that aspect of you felt like you lost control, I was reminded of my own journey. And there was a conversation we were having with a certain group of ladies in and around contraception. Yeah. And the moral standing with some of these contraceptions that are there in the market. And I think the industry in itself just began because of man's desire to control their reproductive health. And you completely, you told God, what would you do? I want to control my life. I want to control and I'm going to give birth because, I have all these other things that are important to me. Education, family and all that. No one wants to get pregnant the first year of their marriage. You are in all these levels of contraceptions and all that. So it's just our innate desire to be in control of so many things. That makes us, I want to be in control of this such that when babies come out of our own control, and we feel like we are totally out of it.
Okay.
You know, because did not plan. You know, it was an unplanned pregnancy.
Yeah.
I remember even for the second baby, because again, it was just like an oopsie. I was actually on contraceptive.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then
how did you? Okay.
That's why for me, I was like, I'm not pregnant. But Curtis knew I was pregnant. I'm like, I'm not pregnant. I'm like, Kasela, I know you. I'm like, but sir, see, I know my body. My parents will come soon.
Yeah.
He went to bought the testing kit. I'm like, no, he actually stayed in the house for like a week plus. I'm like, I'm not pregnant. Like, just go test. I'm like, no, I'm not. I know myself. And after 2 weeks later, and I'm like, okay, let me just do this test.
Yeah.
Just so that ukume lalisha mambo ishe hivyo. I even know there's a video, I don't know if it's online or something. Because I remember when I went to the toilet, he came around the toilet. Remember?
Yeah.
He came to the toilet with his phone to record and just to prove that. And then when I saw the 2 lights, I was like, I screamed because I couldn't believe it that the guy knew I was pregnant. I didn't know I was pregnant. Oh my God. So first of all, I think already I screamed because I was in denial.
Yeah.
And I don't understand how you knew that I was pregnant.
Exactly.
And how you insisted. So at least he already had, like, if it's God who told him or something, he had a head. He was ahead as far as the information is concerned. Yeah. So he just wanted the approval that honestly she is pregnant. And the moment I knew I was pregnant, all the symptoms came.
I know. Yeah.
I did not have any symptoms. Yeah. And I think I was around now, that's 6 weeks, 8 weeks, or 10 weeks.
Okay.
Can't quite remember a lot. Let me tell you, I don't remember much about my second pregnancy because it's how I was out of it.
Okay.
And I think for me, the biggest challenge with the second pregnancy is now peak of COVID. I got the COVID when I was pregnant with her. And it was just a struggle from those second trimester up to around the last trimester. I have I think also because of her weight, I have something called sciatic nerve pinch. So I really have pain in my leg, even up to today, because of how probably heavy she is.
Okay.
And instead of the first pregnancy, it wasn't as bad, but the second pregnancy, so I wasn't even moving much.
Okay.
There's COVID everywhere. There's lockdown. There's no going anywhere.
Yeah.
Myself, I have COVID. Yeah. Literally, I cannot sleep. When you sleep, you don't feel like you're breathing. You don't have air.
Okay.
Yes.
Pure the weight.
Yes, I remember Curtis calling my gyna every single day to share my oxygen levels, like every morning, midday, na jioni. Because I believe know those 2 things. I can't read oximeters to share my oxygen levels. I used to boil those lemons and stuff. We were all forced to go to the kitchen and put the blanket and do steaming because Mimi, Curtis, the nanny, you know.
Okay.
I don't even know to remember how my son was really dealing with all that because I was totally out of it. I think that was the toughest part for me for that pregnancy.
Okay.
And again, now the delivery, I had expectation for it to be the same as the first pregnancy, even the delivery aspect, but hers was tougher than even the first one.
Really?
Yes, it was really tough. First of all, my son, I gave birth to him at 2.9 kgs. She came at 4 kgs. I did not expect to have a 4 kg baby. So even just the labor, the pushing, I'm like, come on, I'm going to black out. I was literally I was seeing stars. And the doctor is like, madam, you have to try. And they're like, okay, I'm like, 4 kgs. I'm like, you guys never told me this person is 4 kgs when you're doing the scans. And you did the last scan that day before giving birth. Yeah. So just the experience itself was so not like the first one. Yeah. And I was like, I wasn't ready. So nikajua, honestly, 2 children, you might have 2 children, but all have different experiences.
Correct, yeah.
And I did not know how strong. I considered myself very weak with the second pregnancy because first of all, body hadn't healed so
well.
Yeah. I had just
how many?
But he had just turned. He was so close. By the time I was giving birth, he was close to turning 2.
Oh, so he hadn't turned 2?
He hadn't turned 2 yet. He was so close to turning 2. So, he was close. That's December. Let me tell you, my mommy brain has never come back. You see some of those after effects? I even forget, how old, where was...
Because that's 2020?
2020, March? I gave 2020 March and then gave birth 2021 December. You sing? Yeah.
Oh my God. For sure.
I was like, how do you give birth to a Fortunisha Miaka? It was so close.
Mine was November and December.
I'm telling you. Next level is how you are here. But you see, my body had a proper beat. Yeah. For sure, I'm still recovering from that beat of carrying 2 children. Yeah. That back to back. But honestly, I want to thank God for that He allowed me to have that child then.
Okay.
Because the relationship the two of them have, it's really amazing.
Oh, okay.
They are really good friends. They now keep each other company. They don't need mommy to come and play with them or daddy to play with them or the nanny.
Okay.
When they are together, they are together. The conflict is crazy because they fight like cats. You know, that's how they fight. I'm like, why are we fighting?
Yeah.
So, but the love is also just as immense.
Okay.
So I really love it that they are in that stage together.
Yeah.
And we get to raise them. Pamoja hivo. Like that conversation you're having with Jorai earlier on about tunalipa school fees kama mingia watu university is going to be heavy.
Yeah.
But tumelipia watu school fees at the same time.
Yeah.
Kuliko umesahau. And again, I hadn't forgotten about mothering.
Yeah.
As much.
Oh yeah.
But it was different.
Yeah.
Because I even think my postpartum, I think because first of all, the journey of giving birth to stuff, just raising her again was a bit tough. I found that it was harder to raise a girl than it was to raise a boy. For me.
Oh, okay.
As like you actually gave me a lot of, I felt like I was more delicate than I was with my firstborn. And I think yes. I think probably because firstborn we were prepared, as you said. We were prepared to be a mother and all that. Yeah. I was ready. I had read books. I had watched videos. I had interacted with the other moms. I knew what to do.
Yeah.
And then the second born comes, you try and apply the same tactics as the first born. Yeah. It's not working. Yeah. And the only thing that I saw that was different and easier with the second born is how she slept quite long time than the brother. The brother was feeding. Okay, she's also a feeder, but how she didn't sleep as much as the first born. Okay. She slept more than the first born. Yeah. So apart from those things, honestly, the two children are different. Yeah. And also me as a mother, I was a bit different. Yeah. And I think I was delicate and I needed more care and attention from my husband. Yes.
Yeah. Why is it the case?
First of all, the first one, I was in my mother's-in-law's house.
Okay.
So I was taken care for like 6 weeks.
Okay.
Because again, there was COVID, there was no moving to different places.
Okay.
So I stayed there for 6 weeks. I didn't worry about food. I didn't worry about Now, second born, I'm in my own house. I have to worry about so many things, you know. Chakula nige inapikwa. Oh, did the nanny do this? So my mind is already spread across so many other tasks apart from caring for a child. That's why I felt so drained so fast. Okay. But honestly speaking, the two children are different. But loving them, I can't say I love...
That's where I wanted to go to. How do you love two? How have you... Yeah. Is there a balance or how do you...
I can't say I love one more than the other. Okay. But I give you more attention in the areas of your weaknesses.
Ah, okay.
You see? Okay. So somebody can say you are really giving more attention to this person when it comes to... I've seen that my son is more emotionally needy than my daughter is.
Okay. Okay.
So I am more available, sort of. Not that I'm neglecting my daughter emotionally, but I've seen my son needs his cup filled every day in as far as the emotional concept is concerned. But my daughter, I'm still emotional with her, but not as much as my son needs it. So there's that balance. You have to identify the needs of these children and supply based on their needs.
Do you think that's what our parents did? Because honestly, I think our parents had favorites.
Oh, of course they had favorites.
Yeah, so is that the same case?
The favorite is the one who's probably doing the best.
Yeah, in school, exactly who they were named after their mother.
I'm telling you, mbona hujafanya nani alipata mbona una struggle hapa na si? Didn't you come from the same womb?
Exactly.
What do you
mean? Go to the same school.
The same school. Same teachers.
But don't you think now thinking about it, you wouldn't have you would have a favorite?
I don't think I would have a favorite.
What would you have?
I would want to. There are temptations sometimes when one of them is driving you crazy. Yeah. You're like, just behave like your brother or just behave like your sister, surely. Yeah. What is so hard about discipline? Yeah. So it's so easy for a mom or even a parent to favor one side. Correct. Based on how good they are, you know. Yeah. They're more respectful. They're well behaved, they're quiet. Mwingine ndo amekuwa tu ratchet, sort of even behavior. The one who's scratching. Yeah. My second one is the one who's scratching, pulling my son's hair because he has hair, so she keeps on pulling it out. And I'm like, I thought you're supposed to know how to do it. Correct. So it's so easy for you to lean towards favorites, but for me, I think it's a dangerous line. Okay. So I have to call myself to order every day. Yeah. And I'm like, even when you're resolving conflict, what is your part in this war? Okay. Imora, you did bad. Remani, you need to not learn how to share the toys. These are toys that for the both of you, you know. Yeah. None of you owns whatever. Yeah. Unless imesebekana ini yako. Because also there's that aspect of raising kids, knowing there's something that is theirs and how to take care of it. Yeah. And there's something that is for sharing, you know. Yeah. So, because the world is just like that. Yeah. But I have to call myself to order. Even my husband, like we have to be very fair in as far as how we are dealing with them and not showing love. Because let me tell you, they'll know. Kids know how they'll know. They may not know how to articulate it with words, but they can tell
But now,
you are favoring one more than the other. They can tell even when they are fighting, you always pick on the firstborn or the lastborn. You can say, okay, honestly, even if I've been wronged for sure by this other sibling, yet I'm the one who's been called to account, they can tell. They'll feel it. And slowly withdraw. They'll start withdrawing. They no longer are emotionally attached. They no longer even share some of the things that they are in here. And I remember my son, I think there's a nanny that I used to have that would constantly call him. Every time he does a mistake, he'll say, bad boy. You're a bad boy. You're a bad boy. And my son now started saying, out of nowhere, he'll just come and ask me, Mommy, am I a bad boy? And I'm like, no, you're not a bad boy. You know, until the nanny left, that's when we learned, hey, this was actually coming from, I actually thought it was from school. I even asked the teacher, are you calling my son? Do you keep on telling Remani that he's a bad boy? I was like, no, we don't have that language in school. So they learn what you keep on telling them through correction. And I mean, everybody can make mistakes.
Correct.
But you cannot disqualify an entire personality of a child and tell them that they are bad because of their children. They are meant to be chaotic sometimes in the things that they do. Extend grace. Allow them to be a child. You can't expect a 2-year-old, 1-year-old to behave like a 10-year-old.
Correct.
That's an unfair judgment. Let them grow up to know bad and wrong. So it's just to show love. Not one does not get more love than the other. It's just to show love based on their needs. But be very fair.
But now for you, like now, but now it's you have a boy and a girl. Yeah. So, okay, maybe could you be more inclined towards your son because of your husband the other way. So how are you able to not really show like you're on the son side?
I'm the girl's mom. Yeah. I don't show it. But my children tend to show the same way. Your daughters are their firstborn. The same thing with my daughter. She's more of a dad's favorite. She'll go to the dad. And I'm fine with that. I'm like, you go hang out with your dad. If anything, I don't have energy to carry the two of you at the same time. It's good we divide this. It's changing diaper. Even if she's crying at night, she's like, Daddy, come. I'm like, good. Call your dad. Don't call mommy. It has its own benefits and they spread across. My son is now turning 4. He doesn't call people at night. I'm Melala. Not unless he wants a story. So I am fine with that. I'm just okay. But my responsibility even in there is now not to say because she is a daddy's girl, she's not my responsibility as much. I still have to call myself to serve her. As her mom. And even for my dad, I'm like, sir, the boy gets identity from the dad. Same, children gets identity from their dad. So also he has to come up and say, you know what? I want time alone with my son. I know he's constantly on your ameshikilia nguo zako, but I want time alone with my son. I also want to cultivate a relationship with my son. Such that it's equal to the same mama's boy and an absent father. It should be a properly balanced scale in as far as having the relationship with these two individuals.
So it's not really finding balance. It's fitting the need.
Fitting the needs of these children. Also ensuring that you're present. You understand the girl as a mom and you understand the boy as a mom. And vice versa. The dad has the responsibility of understanding both the children. You don't let the children lead you in how you're relating with them. Because they don't have much, you know. For example, he's constantly coming to me, let me deal with her. You deal with her, you deal with the boy. I'm like, no, we have to. They need to know we are one team and they get to experience both daddy and mommy. So,
I've been that question, Aki, I've been meaning to ask because right now I'm just seeing, I'm looking at my first one, I'm like, she's daddy's girl, so it's fine.
This kid is gonna be
let me do this one. But then I'm like, the other day I was like, then what am I
miss her,
what am I doing if I'm not connecting with my child? Like, really?
Where's my part
exactly. What is my part here? And so I wanted to know, is there really a balance, or how do you love 2 or maybe 3 or 4 or 5 differently, or is there like favorism? Like, for example, I know, my parents, I know where their heart lies. Now when you have grown up, it's different because they're able to give us needs differently. I'm married, I'm out of the house, my sister is transitioning towards the same, so things like that. So at least now it's not really a balance, but we can tell both of them are okay. But so when you are younger,
but you see, the other thing that helps me be sane in all this and sober, I'm like, how does God deal with his children all across? You know, God loves you differently. Tough. You tell me that I think God loves me because, let's say, he's given me a stable job. Like, God has allowed me to grow career-wise. For me, I'm like, God has loved me because he's given me, let's say, something else, like children or something totally different.
Yeah.
So you see, both of us, our love cup is filled by God based on our needs.
Correct.
So it's not like he loves you more because we've given you a job and loves me less because, I'm fulfilled in other responsibilities that God has given me.
Yeah.
So when you look at it like that, then you transfer the same levels of stewardship and care and love and nurturing from the father to the children.
Yeah.
Like, I understand both of you don't like the same things.
Correct.
But I have to give my attention to the needs that the children have. They may not be equal. And that's now the thing about parenting in the kingdom way.
Yeah.
You have to get it from God because these children are unique. You cannot force to replicate a curriculum of firstborn to secondborn.
Yeah.
You will frustrate your children.
Correct.
And I think that's why sometimes favoritism comes. Even for parents, they didn't know better, but they did the best with what they
did. Yeah.
So you have to allow God to also teach you how to steward the gifts that He's given, because you don't own the children. That's the thing I told God.
Yeah.
Like, when it came to my mind that I don't own these children, they are just a gift that God. So come through this family.
Yeah.
They'll steward you, and then before you know it, they're literally out of the nest. So it makes me also glean to God in as far as parenting is concerned. Yes.
But what I've noticed is also just the way I've observed families, most times you find the one who's your favorite is the one who's your opposite or you're alike. So, like, for example, if my daughter has so much energy like the father, me, I can't manage. They are ever under tables. They play ball. I can't. I just cannot. That's too much.
That's not your.
And the second one is calm. Like, she doesn't even, even if you see her, you won't even know she even speaks. Like, she's just a calm baby. She just smiles. Like, just laughs. So I'm like, I am more, not really connected, but I feel like I'm connected to her because we are alike.
We are alike, sort of.
This other one for energy.
Understand, Diana. Until certain aspects of your own husband shows up in the second. I'm like, what? I thought you were together in this. You are a team. Sorry, no. We are dividing this personality.
So has that happened to you because of the same of personality?
Yeah, it's not, I can't say really deeply as much, but I've seen how they operate differently.
Okay.
I can't say they have more of a personality as myself and Curtis, but they have more of our relative's personality.
Okay.
So that's the thing that I've seen, yes. I've seen my mother-in-law in my daughter. Like, literally how she's been. I'm like, this is your mother, Curtis. And how she's working, her behavior, her demeanor, her confidence and all that, I can see it's from him. But my son, I think, is a bit more like me as far as character and personality. So, but that for me does not make me, doesn't make me inclined more. No.
I think it had gotten to me, but now I have to love them.
I think I got mom guilt. When I know our time, I got mom guilt when I got the child, and then my son, I had to, it's like, I'm sorry that now I'm breastfeeding the child. I'm sorry that now I'm making the baby to sleep. I'm sorry that now I'm tired. I was like, I felt such a heavy mom guilt coming on me. I'm like, I have literally, for what have I done to my son? How did I get here? So I had to, every time now I had to sacrifice. Instead, when my baby is sleeping, instead of me sleeping, I'm out there with my son playing. So it doesn't feel like Mommy left. Because he also felt like there's a new person who came to the house and has taken attention from me. So it looks like this child is more important than me, and easily they can start hating on this child because you came and took away the attentions of my parents, and that's the attention that I used to have. So you also have to be very careful on that. I had to sacrifice. I'm like, okay, I know I'm tired, and I just want to sleep, but I have another responsibility. Those are now the tough decisions that come with having two children so close to each other. That's still a soft wound. We'll talk about it later.
We'll talk about it later. As for now, it's a tough place to be at.
I know.
Wow. Okay, I felt that was therapy for me, honestly speaking. I've been waiting to speak about this thing for so long because there's no one I can tell. Sharon cannot understand what I'm talking about. And then also, I think connecting after two children is also hard with your husband.
Another conversation.
So there, place you
part 2 is coming.
Anyway, thank you so much. I think I felt so relieved. I really wanted to share what I had. To pour out. There's so much in my head. I wanted to know how do I love them with balance, or not really balance, but how, because I found myself ever in that one because of, I think, birth process, how we found out about the pregnancy, etc. And then who is more daddy, who's more like, who looks more daddy. Like my firstborn looks the dad. She looks like my father-in-law, literally. Yeah, they're
literally
twins.
everything.
Then my second one looks like my
My-
mom, my dad. So I was like, I can like this one more. Yeah, because you're my
You
dad.
went to-
You know,
you
my
went
dad
to-
are like this.
I
So
like you and your buddy's girl.
yeah, I'm really daddy's
Our
girl. So
children
anyway,
needs us as much as
yeah, for sure.
equally for sure.
I really needed that. Thank you for affirming that. And may God help us. So my guys.
Amen.
Hata hii inafaa kuwa tuna season 2 na season 5 na season 3 but for now I think we will lock it up at that. Please feel free to engage with us in case you have the same experience as we have or you are going through the same experience or a different experience. Feel free to engage with us, and until the next time, bye.
Peace.